So I thought it would be fun to talk about some of the beauty products I've been loving this autumn. Autumn boy favorites, so to speak, and we're getting right into it. I've been really active on the other short form platforms, posting a lot of makeup content, but I think this is the platform where I want to be a bit more cozy and go a bit more into detail as well. So if you like beauty content for boys, or for anyone really, everyone is welcome here. Make sure to subscribe below and let me know what videos you want to see. But let's get into it. I'm starting with one of my favorite serums by Mimetic. It's called Liquid Peptides and it's just a really lightweight hydrating peptide serum. No matter what my skin is going through, I can always rely on this because it doesn't irritate the skin at all. I've been actually using this for years because I always like to have an anti-aging peptide somewhere in my routine. Also gonna use this Cryotherapy serum by Charlotte Tilbury that I've been testing. It has one of those cooling metal applicators that just makes it really pleasant to apply, and it has caffeine in it, which is great with puffiness, which I definitely get in the morning. I quite like that this is a lightweight serum and not one of those thick, heavy eye creams. For some reason, at the end of the summer, my skin was really struggling with breakouts, and this is the moisturizer I got to help me out with that. It's La Roche-Posay Effaclar H, and it's just a really lightweight moisturizer. I really grew up with La Roche-Posay products because my mother used them and she put me on them when my skin started flaring up as a teenager. So it's just always a reliable brand to come back to for me. So usually I would follow this up with an SPF. I've been loving the Oil Control SPF by Eucerin. It's just lightweight, it sinks right in. It's not too heavy, oily. But because I'm not leaving the house anymore today and it's about to get dark, I'm not even gonna put on SPF. Onto the makeup favorites. This concealer truly has caught me off guard. This is by Make Beauty, the Skin Mimetic Concealers. They sent me 2 shades and actually both surprisingly work well for me. Now I often have a little bit of a fake tan going on. I also love taking keratin supplements because they just give a little bit of a warm glow to the skin. So the deeper shade of the 2 has actually been working really well for me. I'm actually going to zoom you in a bit closer. So the deeper of the 2 has been working well for me. It has enough warmth, but it's also relatively neutral. And that's actually what I love so much about this concealer. It's so spreadable. The coverage is high enough so it does conceal any redness, but it's sheer enough so that it looks literally like skin. You see how perfect this color matches? It literally disappears. Before this summer, I actually didn't used to use as much concealer. I used to use just a little bit around the eyes to cover any shadows. But now I feel like I need a bit more. I need a bit of coverage, especially in the center where there's more redness. Now this is probably not the concealer for you if you want something high coverage, if you have a lot of acne to cover or a lot of pigmentation marks. This is more for you if you don't need or don't like as much coverage. If you need a bit more and more precise coverage, I would suggest the NARS Soft Matte Concealer. It's just so reliable, it has great coverage, but it also looks very skin-like. I don't really use that much under eye concealer. I usually leave this blank and just sometimes warm it up with a little bit of bronzer or something. It just looks a bit less mask-like to me. For contour, there's so many that I really love and use on a daily basis, but a real standout lately has been the Dior contour. Now the packaging just is so luxurious. It's so simple but sleek, and the color for light skin is just perfect. I would say be very sparing with this when you apply it. Don't apply too much because it packs a punch. It's really highly pigmented. Now I always do a little bit under the cheekbone, very close to the center, under the jaw and the nose, as well as the inner corners of the eyes. And almost every time I'm surprised by how incredibly pigmented this is. I'm using this Make Beauty blending brush, by the way. They sent me this and it feels so beautiful. It's really heavy, really nicely weighted. It has this beautiful metal handle and the brush is really dense, so it's easy to blend and not lose too much pigment. You can see how that literally blended out in seconds. Now this contour is quite luxurious. There's definitely more affordable options, but I have to be honest, oftentimes the packaging of contour sticks is quite cheaply made. I have some where the font just rubs off or the plastic breaks, and this just feels like I'm gonna have it for a long time and it's hopefully not gonna break. Also, it's very hard to find the right colors in contour. This just is so light and cool toned, which is exactly what I need. A lot of them are just way too warm or bronzy, which is nice for a bronzer, sort of bronzy contour look, but not really the best if you really wanna create shadows. Now this is the first or the second video that has gone up in a while on my YouTube platform. Well, longer video. I do upload shorts, but with the long form content, I just have not had the chance yet to come back. Just because whenever I recorded, I always recorded on my iPhone and I just felt like the quality, the audio, it just wouldn't be good enough for YouTube. Whereas on the other platforms, for short form content, I feel like it was fine. But for longer form content, I feel like you really need a nice camera, which now I luckily have. I'm so excited and happy about this. So please let me know if you like the quality of the footage, if there's anything you would like me to change, if it's bright enough, etc. Let me know. So there we have it, a really subtle contour. That's why I love this product. The next favorite is liquid eyeshadows, and I've been using these two by Eldridge. They're called Liquid Silk in Phoebe and Irene, I believe. I just want to show you some swatches on the back of my hand. So this one is, let me see, Irene. So this is the color Irene. It has a little bit of a cool tone to it. It's like a cool toned taupe, almost like a little hint of terracotta pink in it as well. Really interesting colors. Then the color Phoebe, which I'm also gonna swatch right next to it. Let me see. So this is the color Phoebe. They're just perfect if you want to try eyeshadow, but you just want a subtle eyeshadow look. You want some definition on your eye, but you don't want a huge statement. These are perfect. I'm gonna use the warmer toned one, the Phoebe it's called. All you really gotta do is just swipe a little bit onto your lid where you want the product to be. And then you can just easily blend it with a finger. Now I like to go into the inner corner to really give me that inner corner definition, to make my eyes look a bit more structured and masculine. And that's really it. It's so quick and easy. They set down matte, which is my preferred finish for every day. And I've truly never tried an easier eyeshadow to use. If you have cool toned eyes like blue or gray or green, I think this color will really make them stand out even more. Now these are my favorites for liquid or cream eyeshadows. For powder eyeshadows, I've been in love with the Super Nudes palette by Tilbury. This is just a perfect, easy, everyday eyeshadow palette. You have your warm tones, you have your cool tones, and you can just create the most easy, beautiful contoured look for every day. This particular shade has been my absolute favorite. I just take it into the socket line and really blend it into the inner corner. Again, just giving that definition and masculine look to the eye. You can even go a little bit underneath and onto the lid. The formula of these are so buttery and blendable. I actually wanted to compare the Super Nudes palette with the original Luxury Quads by Tilbury. Now I've used these for years, and particularly the Sophisticate palette has just been a favorite for years. I've gone through multiple of them because I always use them to contour my eyes. I still use and love this, but I have to say if I had to decide between the two, I would actually go for this one because the formula is just a bit more modern. And actually the size difference isn't even that great. I think this is still really portable and small. Now for the cheeks, one of my favorite formulas has been the Heat Strokes by Make Beauty. They really kindly sent lots of shades to me and I really love them all. Please let me know if you want a Make Beauty review at some point. One of the colors that I've been really gravitating towards is Scorched. It's this really warm brick red that has a beautiful balmy finish. I'm just going to apply this on the high points of my cheek and blend it out with the same brush that I blended my concealer and my contour with. I just like it easy when it comes to tools. I don't like using tons of different brushes. That's what it looks like in one layer. It really shears out beautifully. Let's apply a bit more on this side. Make Beauty has been a real surprise brand for me this year. I've pretty much loved everything they sent me. And that's what it looks like in one layer. I love the finish. It shears down quite a bit. You're not going to get a glossy sheen to the skin, but a little bit of that glow comes through. This brick red is just a perfect autumnal color. So this year, tragedy occurred when the Givenchy translucent powder was discontinued, or rather reformulated. Now this has been my favorite formula for a while, and I actually pretty much emptied this and I wanted to buy a new one. But now that they reformulated it and it has that glowy finish from what I've seen online, I'm not sure if I will repurchase. In a way though, this tragedy has been a bit of a blessing because I found the Makeup Forever powder and I honestly think this is better. Now it comes in this really sleek packaging, and when you open it, it has this brilliant sifter. It's like a net in the middle. So the great thing is that it doesn't come out unless you put your brush right onto the net. And then you get pretty much the perfect amount onto the brush, which you can then put straight onto your face. And this is brilliant. I just always have this sitting on my table open while I'm filming because I get shiny in videos. And whenever I need it, I just reach in the brush, bum, 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 and put it on. Almost like a compact powder. Whereas with this, every time you wanted to use it, you had to like do this, then open it, then use it, then close it again. It got everywhere. Then you had to shake it again. It was a real hassle. So in a way, I'm really happy I found this alternative. On the skin itself, it's just really subtle. You don't really perceive it unless you put on way too much, which you shouldn't do anyway. But it just mattifies so beautifully, blurs so beautifully, but without the hassle of doing this all the time. I completely forgot to use lip balm. This is another Make Beauty favorite. It's the last one in this video. Sorry that it's so much from this brand, but I just love them. This lip balm is perfection. It has a little bit of a sort of minty scent to it. It's really thick and rich, almost like a lip mask, and really creates a plumping effect on the lips, but without that burning sensation. I also love the simple design. It's again really nicely weighted and feels really luxurious on the table. Onto brows. If you know me, you already know this is NYX Lift and Snap. It's just the best brow pen in my opinion. Now always make sure to powder the brow first. Then you want to do a bit of a shake and just do a few trial strokes on the back of your hand, just to really get the ink going. I'm going to try to show you this up close. Essentially, you're able to really create the finest, most realistic looking hair. I hope you can really see this because it's brilliant. Now I used to always shave off the ends of my brows so they get a more uplifted look, but I started to grow them back here recently so they look a bit crazy at the moment. And this just allows me to bring a little bit more thickness and fullness where I want it to be. Now it is a bit hard to do this on camera. Usually they look even thinner and more perfect, but you get the idea. I like to add just a few in the center and underneath as well. Now it takes a bit of practice, so be patient with yourself, and you can always do some strokes on the back of your hand to make sure it's sharp again. Now we started with high luxury, but we're ending on a drugstore note. This is my favorite lip liner, and it happens to be by Maybelline. It's the SuperStay ink crayon in the color Trust Your Gut. Now personally I hate that name. It just makes me think of the gut, like that's not what you want to think of when you apply your makeup. But this is just the most perfect lip color, for my lips at least. It allows you to easily overline and create a really realistic lip shape. Now I always really exaggerate it at the first swipe, on the top lip as well as on the bottom lip. And it looks a bit crazy at first, but because this formula is so blendable, you can just wipe across with a finger and just slightly blend it in. And it just literally looks like you just had your lips done. The more you pat it in, the more sheared out and realistic it will look. But the proof really is there. I actually made a short form video on that other platform. I don't know if I can say the name or if YouTube will not like that. But on that other platform, or those two other platforms, I made a video where I did exactly this, and I claimed in the title that I had gotten lip filler. So I did like a before and after lip filler. And people fully bought it. It literally went viral and people are still hating me for getting lip filler, even though it was just this. So yeah, Trust Your Gut by Maybelline. Please change the name because we don't want to think of the gut when we apply our makeup. I think I just need a tiny bit more of the concealer here on my cheek where that little spot is poking through. But the great thing is that even if you apply this on top of blush, because it's so sheer, it just blends in perfectly and it just disguises any blemishes that way. Those are all the products that I've been really in love with in the month of autumn. In the month of autumn? Autumn is not a month, but in the couple of months of autumn that we've had. I really love how all the products came together and created this really beautiful look. I feel like the colors match really nicely. It feels subtle but put together, and that's what I really love this moment. Please let me know what you think, what other videos you want to see. Make sure you like and subscribe and start a conversation in the comments because I'm so excited to be back here and I want that exchange and that connection with you. See you in the next one. Bisous bisous, yours truly.